Hello, 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 and welcome to another Thursday midday show with Adrian. So I am down in Robina, so I've just finished up at a BX breakfast meeting, and now I'm here live with you on the show. So really looking forward to today's show, and this show is all about you. It's all about supporting you, guiding you, inspiring you to get more out of life, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and all those other aspects. And the way the show works is about you asking questions by typing them into the screen here, and then me coming on board and hopefully being able to support you with putting some answers out there for you as well. So just the first thing I'd love to do is do a bit of a test run. Can you hear me? Can you hear me clearly? If you can, please put a little message up there saying, yes, Adrian, can hear you nice and clear. That would really help me. So if I can get that. Hi Susan, hi Anna. So just a little message, can you hear me? Is it all nice and loud and clear? Yeah, hi Tammy. Yeah, hello. It says yep, is it? Yeah, thanks Anna. Great to have that message because yep, sure can hear you. That's fantastic. Thank you, Kimberly, because there's nothing worse than talking away when people cannot hear me. So if you're new to the show, yeah, hi, thank you. And a little blurry from the sun. Okay, let's see if we can swing around a little bit. It's just very sunny. It's a very sunny day today. I'm in the shade. Let me just see if I can shift, so thank you for that, and see if I can actually come around the other side. There we go. That is much better, so thank you for the feedback. Yeah, there you go. You can see my nice bright shirt now and a bit of clarity. So it's a very smoky day here. I'm in Robina with all the bushfires from New South Wales and Queensland burning, and but I'm glad you're here. So the way this works and the way I like to work is it's not so much about downloading information from a medium perspective, so I don't tune into spirit guides and get that information and share it to you. What this is more about is a psychotherapeutic and coaching and mentoring perspective of you asking questions on where you may be a bit stuck in your life, where you need a bit of change in your life, where you need some inspiration or some wisdom to come through to help you to change where you are right now in your life, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, in relationship, in vocation or your job, in creativity, in communication, or any other area where you're not fully in alignment with that. So if you have anything that you'd like to know in terms of helping to go forward, this is a good forum to do that. So we have had some great questions coming through the last few months of doing the show, and I'm sure today will be no different. You are just down the road from me. I'm up the road just outside Canungra. Hi, thanks Karen. They're very close. So sort of questions might be in your relationship right now. You might have some questions about how to improve that. From a physical perspective, you might want some questions on how to improve that emotionally, mentally, spiritually, about being on a spiritual path. So many ways to ask the question about helping you to get on track and stay on track. And a good way for you to do that also is go to my website, adrianhanks.com, adrianhanks, Hanks.com, and go and have a look at the different pages on there. I've got quite a few things in the shop, some freebies even in there. On the media page, there's some great videos on there for you to watch, and also in some of the other pages you can see the programs and also the services that I offer. And you can also, of course, book in for a free 30-minute consultation with me, and you just do that on my website, adrianhanks.com. So please feel free to book in for a free session with me to ascertain where you are in life and how I may be able to support you to get back on track. So hi Kaz. Hi Laura, hi Karen, Susan. So does anybody have any questions? So just take a moment to get a sense of where you are right now in your life and where you might need a bit of support in that. Do you see me getting a job closer to my house? So Anna, just to share that again, I'm not doing any psychic work at the moment where I just come through and say, what I'm sensing is. But what I would say to you in terms of your job is, what's your vision for yourself? Do you want to have a job closer to your home? And if you do, what can you do to help you to get that? What is your vision? What is your plan? And then how are you going to action that to actually get the job? The question first would be, what sort of job do you want? What do you really want to do? What makes you happy? What satisfies you in terms of your work? So that's the first question. What do you want to do? And is that available close to home? And if it is, then there's a match. If it's not, then you have some work to do. So it's about setting the vision, setting the attention, and then setting the plan, putting the plan into place, and then putting it into action. So first thing would be, what sort of job and how you're going to work in that space. So that's my answer to that question for you. So it's about you asking yourself the questions. Yep. And getting the answers for yourself. So that'd be the first thing I'd say is work out what sort of job you want, and then is that job available in the area, or do you have to create that from something new? So, hi Kimberly, I'm wondering why I'm so super sensitive towards animals. Hurts my heart when I think of animals being hurt. Well, yeah, Adrian, not Tom. I have a much better lifestyle than Tom Hanks, and I'm sure I do, because it's Adrian, not Tom. Very funny, Karen. So Kimberly, it just means you're in touch sensitively to the suffering of others, the suffering of animals, and that's such a great gift. And the thing is what are you going to do with that gift? Where's it going to take you in terms of being maybe an advocate for animals not to be hurt? How can you use that skill of sensitivity to help you and to help those animals and help humanity? So using that skill, using that sensitivity as a positive, because it is a really positive thing to have to feel suffering for others, particularly animals. So what can you do with that would be my question for you there, Kimberly. So, because it hurts a heart. I'm the same. I'm a vegetarian. I've been for 20 years now, and I choose to that because I don't like the way animals are treated and the way they're suffered in the growing and the killing of the meat industry. If I am going to eat meat, it would have to be done in an ethical way, in a kosher way, in an organic way, in a clean way, and very ethically done. And then I may choose to eat meat if I did choose to do so. Otherwise, I do it because, I don't like the farming practices of the way the animals are treated. So I make a choice not to eat the animals. So that's my gift to the animal kingdom. I'm not going to eat you. So that's my take. So you have to find your own for that one. Karen, actually, I feel comfortable with myself, but I do have a vision board for my comments. Law of attraction. Is there any more I can do? Yes. So I work quite specifically with vision boarding, where I make my vision board in a particular way with particular images and pictures and words on the board, and then I use that every day to focus on one particular area or one aspect of my life. So the vision board may have about 7 or 8 different aspects of my life on there, and rather than seeing the vision board as one big load of pictures, I specifically zoom in on one area for a day or a week. So it might be, for instance, at the moment, it might be about creating my business in my vision board. So that's my focus. Next week, it might be creating the vision for my holidays next year, or it might be focusing on my family and friends, whatever's on my vision board, and using it every day as a meditation to really focus in. Rather than having the vision board on the wall and forgetting it, it's about tuning into the vision board, getting connected with the vision board, using it as a vision every single day. So that's what I'll be sharing with that for you, Karen. That's how I'd use it a bit more effectively to get that law of attraction actually happening. Hey Belinda, good timing. You love synchronicity, I do too. Can I have some insight from you and move forward with my life? Yep, Serena. So what I'll say to you in terms of moving forward in your life. 1, create the vision. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? Who is the future Serena? How do you see yourself next week, next month, next year? Can you get an image of that? Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, all the different areas in your life of who do you want to become? Because that's the first part, is getting the vision. Yep, getting the vision. And then you can move forward to that vision. If you don't have a vision, there's nothing to, so your vision's here, future potential self, and you have to move forward towards that. And the law of attraction, what happens is, as we start to move towards the vision starts to move towards us. So it arrives a little bit quicker. It arrives with a bit more energy and focus in the universe, because we're clear with the intention. We're clear with the desire. So getting a clear vision is really important. Getting a clear desire is important. And then we can ascertain what it is we want, start making the plans, and then allowing the universe to come towards us too. And then things start to happen because we're clear about the vision. Yep. So get the clear. And if you need some support on getting that clear vision, booking for a free 30-minute consultation with me, adrianhanks.com, and go to the booking in space and book in a time with me, and we can certainly do something together. So, hey Jean, hello, Belinda, absolutely, Kinley, all good, thank you. Okay, so Angela, do you see anything re my work? Yes, I do. What I see is you with a question, because my question for you is, what are you asking? So let's get more specific, Angela. This is what this show is about. It's about getting specific, because the more specific you are in your question, the more specific I can be in giving an answer. And what I'd say to you from the onset is, with your work, the question is, what do you want to do? What are you doing? Where do you want to take that work? What's your own vision for it? Yeah, what's your vision for your work? Yeah. So that's the first thing I'd say is, what's your vision for yourself? In what workspace do you want to be in? And then it's about creating that space for yourself. Creating your own vision. And if you need support, once again, give me a call and I can help you getting that vision very, very clear for yourself. Because we all have the ability to create our own vision. And that's really empowering. It's really empowering to create one's vision. And it's really empowering to create the plan. And it's really empowering to do the action to actually to get to that place. Really, really important. And when we're clear on the vision, the universe starts to deliver. And the clearer we are, the more it delivers. It's quite amazing. If we put out for something that's not absolutely clear, we can get it in different forms that maybe not exactly what we want. And I'll give you a little story about that in a moment. Just going to read what Karen has said. Bathroom door near water, as water is emotional in the Cancerian. Makes sense. The main vision. Yeah, all good. Yeah, thank you. So look, the vision board is good. And as long as you're looking at that vision board every single day and you're taking the time to look at it and focus in on it, that's the important part. And occasionally we need to change the vision board, because sometimes we put something on there and a few weeks later or a few months later, it's not the same message we're asking. So updating the vision board is really, really important too. You can put pictures or words over the top of something that's either already manifested or is not in alignment anymore with your wishes or your desires. So it's a moving, organic thing to work with, is the vision board. So make it organic, keep it moving, keep the energy flowing with it. Don't let it go stale. Keep the energy flow going from it. It's really, really, really important. So, okay, Belinda, I have an important Skype meeting tomorrow morning. There's a vision that came sooner rather than later. How do I approach the knowing financial tight and I would need in order to undertake this vision? So let me just get clear on the question. I have an important Skype meeting tomorrow morning. It's a vision that came sooner rather than later. How do I approach this knowing finances are tight and I will need in order to undertake this vision? So once it's getting clear on the vision and then looking at the planning of how to get there. And it's about looking outside the box, Belinda, sometimes. And I'll give you an example of a client I worked with a few years ago. She came to me and she wanted to go to Paris to do a training. And she didn't have any money, and it was like in a week. And I said, well, okay, let's just take a moment to pause. You probably maybe won't get to Paris in a week. We can try, but what's the alternative? When's the next training? He said, well, actually, it's in 6 weeks' time in Italy. I said, well, would it make any difference if it was Italy or Paris? He said, no, actually, Italy would be good. I've always wanted to go to Italy. So I said, well, that gives us 6 weeks rather than a week. So we have a bit more time frame to manifest the money to get to Italy. And she needed to raise about $4,000, flights, hotel accommodation, pay, I think it was actually $5,000 to pay for the course. And it was in access consciousness with the teacher who was teaching that. So I said, well, let's find a way for you to raise the funds to be able to go. And we came up with a plan for her to sell her sessions on her return at a discount. So she would offer the people she knew, her clients, her friends, her family, a reduced cost session for the access consciousness that she would come back and give. And I think it was, a few $100s per series of sessions, and she was offering a 50% discount on that if people booked in now for when she got back. And she raised the money. And she said she remembers sitting on the aeroplane, flying out of Sydney to go to Italy, thinking, wow, this has happened in 6 weeks. How did I get here? And how she got there was she had a vision, we created a plan, and then we put it into action. And we thought outside the box. So we made it happen for her. So a lot of it is about thinking outside the box. If you need to raise funds for something, how can you think outside the box to raise it? Because there's many, many ways to raise $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $1 million. It's just about thinking outside the box and getting out of the narrow way of thinking of how we might do that. So I hope that little story helps and inspires. It certainly helped this lady in her journey. Yeah, keep it flowing. Hi there, I'm having trouble with my teammates. Do you see this being settled soon? Vanessa, it will get settled soon when you start having team meetings to talk about the issue. So if you're in a team and you're having issues in there, the only way that you're going to really solve that is by calling a meeting, sitting down with the team members, and discussing the issue. If there's an elephant in the room, you have to name it. You have to bring it out on the table, and then having a process where you get a resolution. So you have to name the issue. You have to bring the people in, and that takes a bit of courage. This is what leadership is about sometimes. It's about calling those difficult shots. And if you need some support in that, if you need a third party to come in and be mediating that, then please give me a call. It's one of my specialities. Love what I'm doing. I love doing that space and coming into organizations or teams and holding the space. So we set some ground rules. We set a safe space for people to speak. And by having somebody in this oftentimes who's not part of the group, it brings in a different energy. It brings in an energy where people aren't quite as tense or as quite as confrontational. So if that's an option, you want that, please give me a call. But if it's something you want to do by yourself, calling the space, creating a safe space, maybe getting a talking stick, no phones, why are we here? What's the focus? What's the intention of the meeting? Can we all tune into a meditation before we begin so that we come in clear and we're not bringing our agendas with us? So lots you can do in that space, Vanessa. But if you're having trouble with the team, it's up to you to call the meeting. It takes courage. But that's what I'd be saying to you, call out what needs to be done. It's because I don't want to mention the fact it would be money. I'll be back, thank you. Look, sometimes it is about that, Belinda, saying, look, if it wasn't for the money, I'd be doing this. So what can we do to create the possibility of me doing this in a different way? Yep. What can we do in a different way? Is there a way around this so we can find this different? Is there me offering my services in a different way? So, if you want some support with that, please, Belinda, give me a call. Very happy to support you in the process. Hi, Melissa. So I hope this is helping a little bit to help people get on track and to think outside the box a little bit and get conscious about the questions and get conscious on the process. Because when we come into consciousness in terms of our decision making, things really do happen for us. I'm currently running a mastermind group with a group of people, and that's coming to an end at the end of the year. And we came up with a list a few weeks ago of 72 different decision-making processes in the group. We all wrote in a few different ones we knew of, and I brought quite a few in that I've been working with. And we've got a PDF list of 72 different decision-making processes that can be used or chosen at any given time. So there's always a way to make a decision. Always. As I say, we have 72 and there's probably a lot more, but we just got a solid list of 72. So good. I'm glad you found a little bit of peace around that, Karen, and really happy to help and support. Really, really good. Yeah. So when you're serious about making life changes, and you bring on a coach or a mentor, so what I do the coaching, I do the mentoring, I do the psychotherapy work. When people are serious about making change, they make a commitment and they use tools, they use the resources that we find, like decision-making processes, to help them to make the changes in their life. So if you're really serious about making some changes in your life, and you'd like to do that, and you'd like to start soon, what I would also like to offer is if you go to my website, adrianhanks.com, and go to the programs page, you will see two things. There's a 12-week program. That's an online program you can just do in your own time over 12 weeks. Or if you're really serious, you could sign up and do a 12-month mentoring program with me with a group of people. And there's still space in there for another few days for people to join that. So that's about having a conversation with me, because I need the right people in the group for the synergy, because the synergy of the group has to be right. So if you're really, really wanting some big changes in your life, I would suggest join a group like the one that's on offer at the moment and commit to 12 months. Commit to 12 months, and then in that 12-month process, the changes that will come about will be really profound. The current group I've just running with, so we're at 11 months at the moment, and the changes for those people in that group have been absolutely profound over the last 12 months. It's been quite amazing, and this will happen to the group, and it's happened to every group that I've run, whether it's been a 3 months, 6 months or 12 months group. There's been profound changes, but I know that 12 months is an absolute life changer. So big changes ahead. I know for myself. I've got my own team of coaches I'm working with at the moment. I'm never without a coach in some area of my life. So whether it's doing my physical work, in terms of getting my body into shape, which I've done over the last 12 months, I'm actually 12 kilos lighter from body fat than I was 12 months ago. I'm a lot fitter, I've got more muscle tone. I did my first half marathon this year, which is incredible. I'm in the gym, my eating habits have changed for the positive, and many, many other things, because I had a coach to help me to break through some of the old paradigms, the old mindsets. I've now got a financial coach that I've been working with now for 18 months. So I've got a financial coach teaching me the understanding of finance and abundance, who's a multi-millionaire in his own right. So a good coach to have, because he's been there, he's been bankrupt, he's been broke, and now he's sitting in that multi-millionaire space, and that's what my vision is. So who better to have as a coach than somebody who's already in the space? So lots of support out there. It's about finding the right coach or mentor to help us through the process. I have business coaching. I've got a mastermind partner of 10 years that we still meet every Monday. So we've had 500 meetings plus in the last 10 years, because we meet every single week. So it's about making the commitment to the change. It's about creating the vision, creating the plan, and then putting things into action. Because without those three things, nothing changes. So vision, planning and action are the key to all life changes. So if you have a vision now to change, it's about now how you're making the plan and how you're going to put it into action. And it's my speciality, it's what I love doing, and I love helping people in that space. So any more questions in there? Any more questions? I'll wait for some questions to pop up on the screen. I'll do a little bit more sharing, a little bit about myself and about where I'm at in life right now, and a little bit about myself in terms of my biography. So I'm 56 years old. I've got a blended family of 6 children, the youngest being 19 and the eldest being 31. So I'm quite a big family, and got 5 grandchildren. And we've got 4 granddaughters, and we've got another young baby that's just come through. It was the brother of one of my granddaughters, and we've taken him into the fold as well as a surrogate grandson. So we don't distinguish by family very much. It's still part of the journey, part of the process. So the inclusion is there for this other little new child, and that's super exciting. And my background in terms of my own coaching and mentoring is I've got involved in this field about more than 25 years ago by getting involved with my own spiritual teachings from Rudolf Steiner. If you haven't heard of Rudolf Steiner, you may have heard of the Steiner schools, and you may have heard of biodynamic agriculture. So they've both come from the teachings of Rudolf Steiner. So I've been a student of Steiner and anthroposophy for over 25 years now. My psychotherapy is Steiner based, and my lifestyle is very much Steiner based in terms of the way I live my life and my principles of my spiritual path. So I've been doing that for a very, very long time, and I love helping and supporting and teaching other people to find their own pathway, their own lifestyle, their own spiritual path, or their own purpose path. And that's really, really important for me, is to help people to find that path, and I get a lot of joy out of doing that. So if you're looking for that, clearer pathway in your life in some form, then I might be the person for you to work with. So a little bit more about myself, a few things I love doing. So I'm a writer, and I've got a few books published, and next year I'll have my first novel being published, and that's super, super, super exciting. I'm also a didgeridoo player and teach people how to play didge, and also do vibrational healing, and I just love to sit and play the didge in any given possibility, particularly in the bush. So also I love being in the ocean, I love being by the ocean, I love body surfing, and I love to be in the gym, I like to keep fit, I like to be very cautious of what I eat, and just as an aside, I choose not to drink alcohol. That's been a 12-year journey for me now. I am a vegetarian, that's been a 20-year journey for me, and I'm a keen advocate for meditation. So I've been meditating regularly now for over 20 years. So for me it's about a lifestyle, about creating a clear lifestyle for myself that is enjoyable, something I love and get fulfillment from, but also something that is a big benefit for me. And those things I choose are definitely a benefit for me. So just going to read what Karen has to say here. You are correct, I have business ideas which I am working on. Yep. Yeah, vision board's really, really important to get all those other aspects on there. It's not just about the work, it's about holistic lifestyle. Because if we just focus on one area, it's not very much from a holistic perspective. So I try to come from a bigger space of that holistic. Because the analogy is, if I'm driving my car and I have a flat tire or some air missing out of one, say the physical, it means the emotional, mental and spiritual are going to be affected, because they're going to be wobbly too. So whichever one's out of place, we bring our attention to that, we fix that, and it gives us a nice smooth ride from a holistic perspective. So if you need to do something physically right now, you may need to have the desire to lose 5 or 10 kilos of body fat, so that you're actually able to walk and run and swim differently, or go to the gym or do yoga. You might need to do some emotional work, because the emotions are playing right now. You may not be able to sleep at night. You may be suffering from the inability to sleep, and that's really taxing on every level, the physical, the emotional, mental and the spiritual, because when you get drained, when you get tired, it affects everything. So getting some sleep, learning how to drop into sleep. It takes practice to drop into sleep, to let go of the mind, to stop letting go of the chattering monkeys. So, and not to put myself on a pedestal too much, but I will a little bit, because I think it's important to be inspiring for people. But I have the ability, because I've trained myself through meditation and to quieten the mind, to sit and be still, or lie and be still, and be asleep within minutes, sometimes less than a minute, usually 2 or 3 minutes, because I've trained myself to turn off the switch, to be in that space and drop into sleep. So I can do that, pretty much anyway. I can even do it standing up and going into semi-sleep when I'm waiting for something. It's a skill, but it's a learnt skill. I trained myself because I had a desire to do it. So I didn't want to stay awake at night worrying and stressing. So I trained myself to sleep. I trained myself to lucid dream, to take myself into a dream to help me in that sleep space. So this is all possible, but you have to create the vision and the desire to begin with. Yep. So I hope that helps as well. Yeah, the car's a great analogy, because everybody gets that one. It's really simple. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. So just 4 tires. When I'm working with the life aspects, I actually use 10, but it's easier to explain it with 4 times rather than 10. But if you want to see those life aspects and you want to connect with them and work with them, if you go to my website, adrianhanks.com, go to the shop, you can actually download for free the journal there. So the 10 Life Aspects journal is a free gift to you. You have to print it off yourself, obviously, and if you want to get it bound, you pay to get it bound in a printer's, or you can actually buy from me the ready-made version. I can post it out to you. But there is a freebie on there too if you want to use the journal in terms of those 10 life aspects. So, hello, I'm wondering if my mum is proud of me for the decision made for her. Try it here, but I can't. So, I'm just wondering, Amy, it sounds like your mum might be passed over. Yep. So if she is passed over, what I'd say quite clear on the show today, I'm not doing the psychic work. I'm not doing the psychic work to bring those messages through. But what I would say to you, Amy, is just to take a moment and train yourself to hear her. Train yourself, Amy, to be able to listen to your mum. What sort of space do you need to create? Yeah. What sort of space do you need to create so you can hear her? Because it's really important to tune into the beloved ones that have passed over, and I'm assuming she's passed over, so if it's a wrong assumption you can let me know quite quickly, but it sounds like it from your message. But we all have the ability to tune in and listen. And sometimes we just have to find the process. So what do you need to do, Amy, to create the space to listen to your mother? To ask her that question, are you proud of me? And feeling it from the heart, listening from the heart, maybe not so much from the mind. So it sounds like maybe there's a heart space that needs to be connected with your mother. Can you connect to the heart? Can you listen from the heart? Can you ask the question from the heart? And being in that space, just the two of you, no distractions. Maybe holding something of hers that belonged to her to make the connection. Having the photograph of her to make the connection. And the question would be, Amy, for me, if I go down the rabbit hole with you, with permission, is why do you need to ask that question? You obviously made a decision for her, and there's obviously a doubt in your mind of whether she's proud of you for the decision you made. So the question for me is, why do you have that doubt? So I'd love to go down the rabbit hole a bit with these questions. It sounds like there's a doubt there. Yeah, for you. You're doubting whether you made the right decision for her. So for you to get that clarity, but really nice for yourself, how do you feel? Do you feel you made the right decision? Is probably an important question to ask for you. And if you did, feeling comfortable about that. Finding the comfort in, I made a decision for my mum, and I need to feel comfortable I made the right decision. Because if the doubt is there, which it sounds like it might be, then it's going to be playing on your mind. So for you to come into that space, Amy, to feel confident that you made the right choice, I think that's important. And you may get that by tuning into your mum. Yeah, I hope that helps a little. Yeah, exactly. If your mind is busy, it will be hard to focus. So what do you need to do, Amy? Do you need to learn to meditate? Do you need to learn to create the space? Do you need to learn to get off social media and be in nature? What is it you need? Can you make a vision of what you need to be able to connect to your mum so you're not as busy in your mind? What do you need to do to turn the dial to bring yourself into that place? What's needed for you? That's the question that I'd be asking. I hope that helps. I love the questions that come up from the show. It's just so warming that people are actually open to ask these questions and share these questions, in a public forum. So I want to honour you for that, for everybody who's asking the questions publicly on the public forum. It takes some vulnerability and some courage to do that, so I want to honour you for that to begin with. So thank you, Amy. I had to take her off life support. I do feel like it was right, but I guess I just feel I need to hear it from her. Yeah. And that's a huge, big decision. What a huge decision. Let's not, let's get the sense of the enormity, Amy, of what you had to decide to take her off life support. So the question was, what have you given her by taking her off life support? you've given her the next part of her journey in the spiritual world, where she can regather herself, refocus herself. I don't know what your beliefs are around reincarnation, about her journey back next time, so she can now have some time out to start preparing for the next incarnation, for her next part of the journey. And maybe while she's in the space she's in now is taking some time out away from the suffering, away from whatever she was suffering with here on the planet, to have some respite, to get some spiritual support, to connect with those other people on the other side that she knew, that have also passed on, and making new connections in the spiritual world. And how I liken this spiritual journey from this earthly plane and crossing over, for people to experience that and to understand that, is a bit like going to the ocean and paddling, and we dip our toes in, and then we might go for a swim and we experience the beauty of swimming in the ocean. Then we might choose to snorkel, and we start to see things under the water that are new to us. And it's like, wow, there's a fish, wow, there's some seaweed, wow, there's some shells. And then we make the choice to go even deeper, which is like going into the spiritual world. And we start to scuba dive. And we go down and we start to see even more of what's available. So what your mother will be experiencing now is a connection into a bigger field, into the spiritual world, and looking down upon you. And I'm sure if you're open up to it, Amy, she's there to connect with. But you have to create the space. Creating the space to connect with her. And that's your responsibility now. Yeah. It's about you coming into that space. Creating that calm for yourself. What do you need to be calm? What do you need to do connect? Yeah. And it might be that you do that through a medium, or you may choose to just do that by yourself. That's your choice. Some great mediums out there who might be able to help you to connect with the right messages. But it sounds like you have the message yourself, you have the question yourself. And it sounds like for you it's important to make the connection yourself to your mum. Because once you do it once and you hear her and you're clear that it was a clear message, you can tune in anytime you choose to, 24/7. I have past family members that I love to communicate with. I love to communicate. And it's just beautiful. I'll ask a question or I get some insight from them messaging me directly, and it's very beautiful because I can do it 24/7. So it's about learning to trust the process and learning to create a platform for you to be able to do that. Okay? Very happy to support you a bit more, Amy, if you need it. AdrianHanks.com is the website, and if you choose to book in, you can book in for a free 30-minute consultation with me, and then we can see what we can do to continue. Hi, Lily. Yeah, thank you for noticing the necklace. The eagle is my totem, particularly the wedge-tailed eagle here in Australia. And I actually bought this in India. So I've just was in India for 2 weeks. I've been back for about 3 weeks myself. I had 2 weeks in India, then in Goa, and I was in Delhi for a week. And I saw this eagle, and I just loved it. So I've been wearing this a little bit the last few weeks to just tune into the energy of the eagle. Because it is my totem, and I love the idea of having the vision of the eagle, that overlooking over all, being able to look down on things from an eagle eye perspective. So I do love that space, and I've had some amazing spiritual experiences with eagle energy over the last 20 odd years. So yeah, I do enjoy it. So thank you for noticing. So. And just in that, just a bit of a share while I'm waiting for other questions to come up on the screen, is the importance of tuning into nature, the importance of tuning into things like animal spirits, tuning into our guides to help us along the way. Because I know when I tune into that eagle energy, like if I'm traveling somewhere and I'm feeling a bit off, or I'm not feeling like I'm tuned in with myself, suddenly the eagle will appear for me. Quite amazing. In fact, what happened with this, a little story. So I was in India and walking along the beach in Goa. It was actually in Goa. I was on a 3-day yoga retreat there with a great yoga teacher called Kathleen, who's actually here in Australia, and she was over in Goa to take us on the yoga retreat. And somebody came up and they were selling different things, necklaces and bracelets, and I bought this. And I walked down the beach along the ocean to going off for lunch with some friends, and I looked up in this big, massive tree just on the side of the beach, and there was an eagle's nest with an eagle sitting on top of the nest. And I looked up again, and there's quite a few eagles in India, particularly around Goa, and I looked up and I counted 14 eagles in about 3 or 4 minutes, all circling overhead. And it was like just an amazing, magical moment. I just put the eagle around my neck, found the eagle's eyrie or nest in the tree with an eagle, and then looked up further in the sky, different levels, and counted the 12, 13 or 14 eagles in 3 or 4 minutes. It was a very magical moment, and I felt very blessed in that moment because I was doing some personal spiritual development work for myself on the yoga retreat of what to bring back to Australia, how to come back to Australia in a different, new, energetic way. And part of that is the eagle energy that I carry. So that was a little story I just wanted to share. So it's amazing how synchronicity can have a big part in our lives. So yes, it is. I love it. So thank you, Amy. And I hope that's helped you in terms of your desire to connect with your mum and get that message about you doing the right thing in that life support machine, because they're big decisions. Okay, so yeah, blessings and namaste to you. So are there any other questions from anybody in here in terms of supporting you to get on track and stay on track in your life in some way, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, in a relationship, sexually, intimately, creatively, or any other way? Because there's many ways to connect with life and many different aspects. And I'm going to do a bit of a time check here. Wow, time flies pretty quickly. We've been on here for 40 minutes already, and I do go for the hour. I go from midday till 1 p.m. Queensland time. And sometimes just taking a little bit of a break. Yeah, it's a very special place. I really enjoyed Goa, and it's somewhere I will be going back to, Vicky. Certainly be going back to India at some point in the very near future. I'll share this little journey for you too. Is just been to India, but I also spend a lot of time in Africa. And my wife Arlene, she's from South Africa, and I love Africa. It's an absolutely magical place, and I love to spend time there. And in August next year, I'll be actually taking a group of 8 people to Africa for a 12-day journey or a 21-day journey. So if there's anybody on here who has Africa on their bucket list or would like to experience Africa, I do tours to Africa, and it will be in August, September next year in 2020. So what we do, we start the process now, we get you all booked in, and get you ready for the journey, because it takes some journeying to spend time in Africa. We do some walking safaris, we visit sacred sites, we go and visit 40,000-year-old artwork in caves, we go and spend time in an orphanage in Africa, and we spend a lot of time in these beautiful sacred spaces in meditation. I've got a team over there that I work with. I've got Dean, who's an expert in the old energies of the African land that's go back tens of thousands of years, and he's a wise man in that area. I've also got Sakilo, who's a Zulu, who's our tour guide for the 3-day walking safari, and I've got a team of other people I work with too. So that is fascinating. So I go there and spend a lot of time in Africa. I've been there and lived there myself and spent lots of time there, and it's a very special place. So the invitation's out there too. You can find that on my website, adrianhanks.com. There's a link to my Africa website from there. So go and check out the videos, have a look and see if there's a inkling for you to come and spend some time in Africa with me. So what have we got here? I wonder about finding my mission work. Okay, Vicky, it's a really good question. So because I believe that on some level for most people we have something to bring to the planet, and it may be just for a moment that we bring a gift, or it may be long term. And if you have a sense of bringing your mission or your vision or your passion or your vocation to the planet, it's really important to work on it. And coming back to the Africa story, oftentimes in Africa people go and see sangomas, or witch doctors we call them in the West, but they're actually medicine men or medicine women, but they're sangomas and they're very wise. And if you go to a sangoma with some illness, some sickness, one of the questions many will ask is, are you following your mission? Are you following your passion? And if you're not, that's why you're sick. And I adhere to that a lot, because I work with a lot of people who are physically, emotionally, mentally or spiritually in dis-ease, they're not at ease with it, they're in disarray around it. But when we find their passion, their mission, their vision, that clears up. The physical, the emotional, mental, it clears up because they're on their vision, they're on their passion, their energy is higher. So it's harder for the negative to get in, it's harder for the dis-ease to get in because they're in alignment. Yep. So about you finding your passion, about you finding your mission, we can do that. Please, go to my website, book in for a free 30-minute consultation with me. I will spend 30 minutes with you, and we were going to find that mission for you. And then we can look at the plan of how to activate that, how to get you going with that. And it's about letting go of any expectations for how that may get done, because we think outside the box. So finding that vision or that mission or that passion is so important. So if you want to catch up, please then do so. Hey, Robin. Hi, Adrian. So glad I managed to catch up. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing your stories and the guidance. Namaste. Yeah, namaste, Emmy. I've had eagles flying across my path on a regular basis over the last week. Yeah, so tune in. What is the message from the eagle for you? That's always a question where when something comes into our life and we look at the signs, we can find the message if we choose to. And particularly around the animal space, there's lots around that. Yeah, go and check out the website, robinadrianhanks.com. There's lots on there, lots of videos, lots of free gifts and lots of insights. Yeah, very true, Belinda. Like for me, that spiritual path is so important. I've been on my spiritual journey ever since I was, sort of 9 or 10 years old. It started for me very young, where I had a very deep spiritual experience, and I was very lucky in that experience, and I'll share that a little bit. Spiritually, Africa is spiritually amazing. It's like mind-blowingly spiritually amazing. It really, really is, Vicky. So give me a call if you want to go, and we can talk about the possibility of you coming, because there is an interview process, because the synergy has to be right. But coming back to that story, I was very lucky. I was about 9 years old. I was in primary school, and I was walking home past what was an old demolished church, and it was a St Mary's church. It was actually destroyed around the Cromwell times, when there was lots of burnings of churches and things in the countryside. And this church did get demolished. It got smashed to the ground, and the remains are there. The rocks are still there, and bits of artifacts can be dug and found. It's quite an interesting little excavation site, and as a child I used to go in there and play around. And I was walking home one day, I was about 9 to 10 years old, from primary school, and as I walked past this old site where the church used to be, I got a sense of seeing something, seeing a spirit, seeing a ghost, if you like. And the next day I went to my primary school teacher, who was a beautiful, beautiful man, who was my guide and mentor for many years, and I shared the experience with him, because I didn't know it was a church at the time, I didn't know it was a ruin at the time. But what I did say to him was, I saw something a bit funny yesterday, and I'm not sure what it was. And he said to me, Adrian, it could possibly have been a spirit of Mrs. Y, because that was an old ruin, that was an old church. And it gave me confidence, it gave me a positive foundation in my spiritual world, because I'd already had some other experiences of, different things going on that were a bit weird. But that gave me a belief, it gave me stability. And what the gift he gave me in trusting myself was amazing. He was my guide for several years, through my latter primary and early high school years. I used to go and see him as a mentor, which was amazing at that age. So it started early for me, and then over the years I've just built that trust and that connection to spirit. So for me, the spiritual journey is really important. And as I shared earlier, for the last 25 years I've been on the, if you like, the Rosicrucian journey of spirituality through anthroposophy and the work of Rudolf Steiner. So I've been on that one constant path, the Rosicrucian path, or the Rosy Cross path, for 25 years, and I'm deeply embedded in that journey of spirituality, and it's very, very personal to me, and I really love it. So so give me a call, Vicky. Let's have a conversation about, see if you're going to be on that journey in August next year to Africa. It's pretty amazing. To go to my website, adrianhanks.com, go to the services page, you'll see Spirit of Africa Journeys on there. Click it, have a look, and you can watch some of the videos. Hey, hi from Whippery in New South Wales. I've driven through that little town a few little times on the way down towards, I think it's towards Grafton, isn't it? that little, sort of fly through, and it's like, whoa, that was a blink, that was a town. There's about 4 or 5 houses there, and there's a beautiful stretch of bush on that highway coming through there that I absolutely love. In fact, I've stopped off through there and collected a few hollow logs over the time around that area and made some didgeridoos from that region. So it's a beautiful day, a very, very beautiful area. I would love to hear that I have always been connected to spirit when I was little and through my life. I'm trying to open up again, because it used to scare me when I was little. Look, it can be really, really scary, Lily, the spiritual world. And I liken it once again back to that analogy of snorkeling. You would not go and do scuba diving, or possibly even snorkeling, without getting coached, without getting taught, particularly scuba diving. You go and get taught how to use scuba diving equipment. You get a teacher, you get a coach, you get a mentor to do that. And for me, if you're going to get into the spiritual world, it's about getting a mentor, getting a coach. In the olden days, they were called hierophants. So the student would have a hierophant, a teacher, that would, if you like, hold the golden cord, so that when somebody went into the spiritual world, there would be a connection, a safe passage back again. And it was the hierophant's responsibility to allow their student slowly with the golden cord into the spiritual world, knowing how far they can go depending on their initiation. So if they're a level 1 initiate, the cord would be leading out to the level 1, so you'd get into the angel realm. And then level 2 would be the archangel realm. And then level 3 or 4 might be the powers, or the different realms, or into the higher realms. And then when there was a bit more of a fuller initiation, the cord would be lengthened and the person would go deeper into the spiritual world. And then they would meet things that they were ready to meet. So there are different levels of spirituality. There's different beings in the spiritual realm. And it's about meeting them at the appropriate time, depending on the training, depending on the preparation work. So spiritual work it's about the preparation, a lot of it. It can take 2 or 3 or 4 years to prepare for the first encounter. Because if you encounter something when you're not ready, it will be scary. And I'm telling you, there are tens of thousands of people, tens of thousands or more, in psych units who've had a spiritual experience because they were not prepared to meet what they faced. And sometimes they've done that because they did some drugs. They did some marijuana or ayahuasca or some other drug that they took without doing the preparation. They did not do the preparation work. They did not do the initiation process to meet the things they had to meet. So you have to find the safe path and the preparation path to meet the beings we're ready to meet. Meeting an angel. Meeting an angel is just not like meeting somebody in the street. It's a powerful being. And if you're not prepared for that, you can have your circuits blown. You really can. So it is about the preparation, Lily, because it can be scary. Particularly as a child, if we're not prepared for that, if we're not still connected to the spiritual world and we're still in that space and we meet it, it can be very, very scary. Particularly if they're demonic beings or beings with a nature that's not friendly, let's say. And that they exist as well. And if we're in a space when we meet that, it can be very scary. So getting back into the spiritual world, slowly, safely, with a teacher, with a mentor. And if I can help you, Lily, in any way to do that, please do give me a call and we can help you to find that safe pathway. Yes, a beautiful gift at a young age. It was, I don't take that lightly. I was gifted something very special. Unfortunately, what happened for me is when I hit about 13, I had quite a few negative, or not that they weren't negative in a sense, but they were experiences I had that I wasn't prepared for. Deeply sexual experiences, marijuana experiences, and a little bit later, harder drugs. And they catapulted me into realms I wasn't ready for. So for 4 or 5 or 10 years, I was in this turmoil of trying to decipher the spiritual world and what I call the astral world and the astral beings. And it wasn't until I started doing my work in my late 20s and 30s and my 40s and now my 50s that I can discern between the crazy astral world where you get all those visions and colours and craziness into the spiritual world. And it's taken years of preparation, years of study, years of work to get that discernment on what's real in the spiritual world and what's not, because it can be scary if we get confused. Yeah. So going on, sort of on topic, but a bit left of topic, but I hope it's supporting you and helping you. I just go where the questions and come from, and I just keep going with the questions. Yes, my third eye opened last year. I was not prepared. I was scared at the time. Wow, what a journey! Yeah. And when you start to opening up those, those portals, whether it's the crown chakra, the third eye chakra, the heart chakra, the base chakra, opening up the base chakra is not easy. Opening up the heart chakra is not easy. Opening up the third eye chakra is not easy. Tuning into what we call, the Akashic record, the Akasha, the knowledge, the wisdom of the universe. Wow, that's hard work. You don't just... It's like getting access to a reference library, in a normal library. If you go into Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane, one of those places, and go to the reference library in these big old libraries, and you go into the reference library and try and understand it, trying to navigate where to go to get those references, it's really hard work, and that's in the 3D world. So trying to reference and get clearer on the Akashic records, the universal wisdom, is really hard. It takes decades of training to be able to do that. Decades. To really be able to read those records and get clear on where they are, get the understanding of what they're actually trying to tell us. Because the codes and the languages used are not 3D languages. We have to decipher. We have to understand the deciphering of the messages and get the clarity of the messages without the ego. And that's really, really hard work to get in that space. And I don't profess to know all that stuff. I'm a student too. But it takes a long time to get the understanding of that. Yeah, really does. So it takes a long time to prepare. And when you get that opening, and this is happening on the planet so much right now, people having instantaneous openings. And then there's a lot of freak out, because they're not sure where to go with that, because the spiritual teachers are short in supply for people to go to. Some people don't know where to go to. They don't know where to go to, don't know where to turn to. I get phone calls from people. I remember getting a phone call a few years ago from somebody in Brisbane saying to me, Adrian, I'll call it, he wasn't an electrician, but he was in a similar industry. Let's say he was an electrician, and he said, I was just unpacking my van, getting some gear out the back, and I had what I can only say was an awakening, and I didn't know where to go, so I googled it and got your name, spiritual teacher, and I worked with him for a long time to get him prepared and ready for his work, and now he's doing spiritual work. But people are getting instantaneous awakenings all the time, and on some level we have to get the spiritual teachers ready for the students, for the people seeking. Otherwise the danger is they're going to end up going to a doctor and getting medicated because they're hearing a voice. It's really dangerous. They're not, I know there's space for that in the medical space, for schizophrenia and different things. Most of the time it's not. People are just getting spiritual messages, and the doctors do not know what to do with it because they're not trained in that area. So we have to get more spiritual teachers on board to help people through their journey. Belinda, call me, let's have a conversation. It's all about preparation. Preparation. The initiate does not get to be initiate without the preparation. Let's just, lock that into the hard drive. I find it interesting you mentioned the Akashic records. Well, they're real. But it's about how to connect with them in a real, deep, understanding way. It takes a long time. Does seeing 11111 or 1111 all the time really mean anything? So, Pat, I'm going to ask you a question. If you saw 1010 all the time, would it mean anything? If you saw 0909 all the time, would it mean anything? If you saw 0808 all the time, would it mean anything? It depends what you make of it. What does 1111 mean to you? That's the question. What does it mean to you? And yes, it means something. It means you're seeing lots of ones, and one will have a significance for you. One is usually about leadership, about going forward in a clear way. So for me, it's like, what do I make? It's not about what other people think of the messages and so on. It's about, what does it mean for me? And sometimes I'll be doing my meditations at night or in the morning, and I'll look at my watch and it'll be 10 and 11:10, and I'll wait for 30 seconds or a minute till it goes 11:11, because there's something nice about seeing it. It feels good. Hey, it's 11:11. It's quite a powerful number. In numerology, it's a very, very powerful number. but it depends what it means for you. And it might mean just at that time, it's when you get a little bit of a wake-up call because it's a set time for you, because it's 11:11, and in that moment you're choosing to be conscious of it being 11:11, which means you're conscious of other things. If you go to my website, go to the shop and download the free report from Confusion to Clarity, there's an exercise in there that you can use that's similar about tuning in at certain times during the day. So check that out too. So I'm aware of the time, it's nearly 1 o'clock, we're nearly on the hour. So I'm going to bring this to a bit of a close. So it's 1 o'clock, I've just looked now, and in 11 minutes time it'll be 111, so you might want to look at that too. But I want to thank you and for being here today. Thank you for the questions, thank you for listening in, tuning in, and please once again, adrianhanks.com. And if you want to connect on Facebook too, Adrian Hanks, please do so. And I am on the Gold Coast, and I do a lot of online work, but I also do one-on-one work, and also that group work and the tour work. You know, there is Africa, there is a 12-week program, there's a 12-month program, there is a one-on-one work, and there's lots of other things you can check out too. So once again, thank you, and I'll be here again next Thursday at midday on the show. So namaste to you.